US-278 Part 2. We're looking at some more. Alright, we're going to continue where we picked off in Part 1. We have the section from Cullman, Alabama to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. It is mainly going through the Atlanta and Augusta areas, so we'll be spending a lot of time in there. Before we continue, do everything you see in the lower left-hand corner. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let's get started. So, picking up where we left off, we have Cullman and Double Spring signed on Interstate 65. Cullman is signed because we haven't quite made it to Cullman yet. Here we are in Cullman, meeting US-31. East is signed for straight ahead. And coming out of Cullman, we have Gadsden 51, single line for it. But if you are having one line signed for it, I think Gadsden is the correct choice for 278. There's not a whole lot between Cullman and Gadsden, so I definitely agree with this. Gadsden is where you meet Interstate 59, and it's a sizable town, so yeah, I agree with this. Here we are meeting highway along the route. We have Gadsden still signed straight, and Birmingham signed right here, so they do sign Birmingham. Here we have Sneed and Gadsden, so Gadsden is maintained. Here we are meeting US 431 here. We will be concurrent with 431 South as we turn right. And here we are, I believe this is in Atala, but we also pick up US 11, and we're still signed for 278 and 431 as we turn right here to Interstate 59. Here we are meeting Interstate 59. We have it signed for North Chattanooga and South for Birmingham, which are the correct choices. And here on Interstate 59, it is signed for Tala for going on westbound 278 and Gadsden for eastbound. Gadsden is correct because we're still a bit west of Gadsden, a bit west of downtown. And here's our best look of downtown Gadsden. We see this one tall building right here, but we don't really see a lot of others. Gadsden's not a huge downtown. And coming out of Gadsden, we are turning left right here, and we are now signed for Hoax Bluff and Atlanta. So they signed Atlanta from Gadsden. That's pretty cool. And it keeps up. We have Hoax Bluff 5, Piedmont 22, and Atlanta 113. So they signed Atlanta from 113 miles out, which I do like a lot. And Piedmont is signed there because that is where the cutoff to Atlanta is. 278 is not the fastest way to Atlanta. There's some state highways and a little bit of a convoluted route to get to Atlanta. But Piedmont and Atlanta being signed is definitely the right choice because, again, it's a pretty convoluted route to Atlanta. But Piedmont being on there definitely works too. As we keep going, Piedmont is signed at this interchange. This sign looks horrible. Like, I don't know why it's in this bad condition, but we have Piedmont signed. And once we're in Piedmont, we are now signed for Center and Cedartown. So Cedartown is a town in Georgia, but I do think it is the correct choice because we have already passed the cutoff to Atlanta. So Cedartown is the next sensible choice. Here we are at the Georgia state line, and we also see a Welcome to Georgia sign right here. Definitely a lot closer than some of the other signs on this route. Here we are in Cedartown. We are now signed for Rockmart. Here we are meeting US 27. And we will be signed for Rockmart again. And here, just past Rockmart, we are now signed for Dallas. This is Dallas, Georgia, not Dallas, Texas. And here we are in Dallas. Now we are signed for Powder Springs. So we get a lot of like suburbs and exurbs signed here. It's a little tough to say what the control cities are going this route around Atlanta. I mean, for what they got, I mean, I guess it's somewhat sensible. And now, as we get closer to Powder Springs, we now have Austell signed. Austell, I think, is worth mentioning because that's where you meet US-78, so you meet the parent route there. We also see Marietta left here, so you go left to get to Marietta. Here we are in the Austell area. We have the junction with US-78. We also see a 2 I-20 shield right here for going straight. We'll be concurrent with East 78 right here. Here we are meeting Interstate 285, the Atlanta Beltway. We don't have control cities here. And looking at 285, 78 and 278 is signed for the Howell Parkway. So Atlanta treats this road like the Louisville area treats its 2-digit interstates, or actually no, it's 3-digit interstates. Yeah, so we just get the names of the roads, not any kind of control cities. Here we are meeting with US-19 and US-41, and we are still concurrent with 78-278. And we see the Atlanta downtown and also the Midtown Atlanta looming in the background, so I think that's pretty cool. And now we're on East 29 as we're concurrent with other two roads as we head towards Atlanta. We see a little bit of Georgia Tech right here. We'll see like a little bit of a better look at it going on westbound, but Georgia Tech was a little hard to see from this route. So here we are, we're about to meet Interstate 75 and 85. And on 75 and 85, we're signed for North Avenue and Georgia Tech. So we don't really have a eastbound control city here. We just have the name of the street, and we also have Georgia Tech right here. And here's our best look at downtown Atlanta. A really cool view going this way. Downtown Atlanta looks really cool as we are looking at southbound 75 and 85. And here's a good look at north, or not north, but Midtown Atlanta. We see Midtown Atlanta here. So yeah, pretty cool. And then here we are meeting US-23. We'll be concurrent with it for a short while. And this is where 278 splits off of US-78 around the Decatur area. And on our way out of Atlanta, we signed for Lithonia, which kind of makes sense. I know Lithonia is not that big, but that is where you meet Interstate 20. So I think it is worth signing coming out of Atlanta. Here we are meeting the eastern part of 285 from US-278, still no control cities. And here it is signed for the Covington Highway, since this is since Covington is where 278 will split off of Interstate 20. We see 285 North here assigned for Greenville and Chattanooga. Here we are meeting Interstate 20. We have Augusta and Atlanta signs, so pretty sensible sign here. And as we merge with 20 East, we have a reassurance shield for both 20 and 278. And when this concurrency ends, 278 East is signed for Covington and Oxford. Oxford is a city near Covington, but we're not quite downtown Covington, so we have Covington signed. Coming out of Covington, we have Newborn 9 and Madison 26. So Madison becomes the next choice, and I agree with that. We have a single line for Madison, so they signed the correct single line right here. We meet Interstate 20 again, but we are not concurrent with it, and 20 is now signing 278 for Stanton Springs Parkway. So even outside the Atlanta area, we still have 278 signed for just the name of the road. And out of Madison, we have Greensboro signed as we meet US 129 and US 441. Next mile sign, we have Greensboro 18 and Union Point 26. Aren't that good of control cities, like, just in general, but I think for this part of 278, I think this makes sense because, again, like, you wouldn't sign this for Augusta because you would just stay on 20 if you want to go to Augusta. So Greensboro, Union Point, there may be a couple thousand people each, but I think these are okay for right here. And now we have Union Point 7, Crawfordville 19, and Washington 31. So Washington isn't even on 278. It's on one of these state highways we meet. And Union Point, Crawfordville. I hope Crawfordville is not going to be our primary control. I wonder. Oh no, here we go. Crawfordville 12. Oh, Georgia. If you're signing one city, why is it Crawfordville? This should not be Crawfordville. In fact, it should be Warrenton signed instead of Crawfordville. And then we also have this Washington 20 here. I don't really know why we're signing stuff that's not even on the route, but here we are. And this is kind of weird. So that last sign we have Warrenton 16, but here, this is a bit further on. We have Warrenton 18. I don't know how the mileage increased, but here we are. And then we see Thompson as the next control city, which I think Thompson's okay. Then our next mileage sign we have Thompson and Augusta signed. So Augusta is signed after Thompson. However, I think it's faster to take I-20 from the Thompson area to Augusta to get there faster. So it is a little weird to have Augusta, but we haven't quite made it to Thompson yet, so I'm okay with this here. And here we are in Thompson. We have Augusta signed straight, Washington and Rant signed for State Highway 17. So Augusta being signed here is a little weird, just because I think it's faster to go left and to get to I-20 to get to Augusta. But here we are. Next mileage sign we have, we don't get Augusta, but we get Deering and Harlem, which, again, I think is okay from Thompson just because, again, there's a faster route to Augusta. But after Harlem, it should be Augusta all the way. Here we are meeting US-271. I believe this is in Harlem. We also see a 2 I-20 shields to go left here. However, next mileage sign we get after Harlem, we have Fort Eisenhower, which I think has a different name now, or maybe this is the new name. And we have Grovetown signed, which is just 1 mile beyond it. No, sign Augusta here, Georgia. Sign Augusta. It's one of your biggest cities. But we do get Augusta signed finally. Augusta 16 miles. And here we are meeting Interstate 520 in the Augusta area. We have 520 west for Atlanta and 520 east for Columbia. So here, Columbia really should be on the 520 west side because that's actually the faster way to Columbia. 520 east should be signed for something else. It should either be unsigned or it should be signed for, I don't know, maybe a suburb in the Augusta area. I don't know. It's tough to say on 520 east, but Columbia should be on this side. On 520 itself is called the Gordon Highway and is also signed for Fort Gordon, which I think is the same thing as Fort Eisenhower. So yeah, it's kind of weird. We have Fort Eisenhower and Fort Gordon signs everywhere, so kind of wish they would maybe pick one. And here we are meeting US-1. We will be concurrent with it for a while. Left here is signed for Augusta, right is signed for Rennes and Louisville. Here we are meeting US-25 south right here. Here's an exit for it, and I think we will also be concurrent with 25. And here's a good look at downtown Augusta as we cross the Savannah River. And here we are entering South Carolina. We don't have US-78 or 278 signed, Nor do we have a Welcome to South Carolina sign. We just have a South Carolina State Highway 121 sign right here. So that's a little weird. But I mean, Augusta is kind of a big city on like around the state line, and we're about to enter the North Augusta area. So I kind of understand why they don't have state welcome signs here, but at the same time, I kind of wish they did. Here we have a mileage sign. We have Aiken 15 and Edgefield 25. I don't think either of these are on 278. I think these are on US Highway 1. And here we are splitting off from US 25 here. 25 is signed for North Augusta, 178 and 278 is signed for Aiken. And we also have a Interstate 522 I-20 1 mile. Here we are meeting the, I guess either the eastern or the northern exit for Interstate 520. And 520 east is signed for Columbia and Atlanta, and 520 west is signed for Augusta. So this is a slightly better sign than what we saw before. And here we are splitting off of US 1. 278 is now signed for the Savannah River site and Jackson. I don't know why Jackson is signed. That's for State Highway 125 here. But let's see if that holds up. And it does. Unfortunately, we have Beach Island 5, Jackson 14, and Savannah River Site 18. I don't really know why Jackson is signed for US-278, but whatever. Jackson's kind of a suburb of Augusta, but it's not a very big suburb, so I don't really think that should be signed. And the next mile sign we have New Ellington 13 and Barnwell 38, which is probably what I would have signed since the US 1 split. Barnwell is the next correct choice. And out of Barnwell, we have Klein, Allendale, and Savannah signs. So we get Savannah. Even though 278 doesn't go to Savannah, I do think it's worth mentioning because Savannah's kind of a major city. Even though it's in Georgia, I do like that South Carolina signs it. Here at an intersection, we have Allendale signs. So we don't have Savannah, but we do have Allendale. And just past Allendale, we have Sylvania sign as we meet US 301, which I think is US 301's control city, not US 278's. And we have Hampton signed as we split off of 301 during this concurrency. So yeah, I think Hampton is a decent choice because I think there is a faster way to Savannah. Yeah, because here's US 321, and 321 is signed for Savannah, and then Hampton is still signed for 278. And our next mile sign we get Varnville 3, Beaufort 46, and Savannah 61. They do sign Savannah again because from Hampton there is another way to Savannah. In fact, here it is at US 601. 601 is signed for Savannah, and 278 is signed for Varnville and Beaufort, which I don't know about Beaufort. I know it's kind of in the Hilton Head Island area, but 278 doesn't actually go there, so I don't really know why that's signed instead of Hilton Head Island or maybe like Ridgedale or Hardyville, something like that, something that 278 actually goes to. And here we are at another sign. We have Ridgeland 14 and Hilton Head Island 70. So this is a better sign. We have Ridgeland, which is the first town where Interstate 95 goes to, that we kind of meet up with. We don't have a direct interchange with I-95 there, but we do have a cutoff to I-95, so that's good to sign. We also have Hilton Head Island, which is 278's last city, so that's a good sign right here. And we keep up with Hilton Head Island here, as well as Hardyville and Savannah. This is right here in Ridgeland. We're also with US-17 for a brief time. And here is the cutoff to I-95. And now we're signed for Switzerland, which isn't even an incorporated city, but I mean, this is just a directional sign, so maybe it's not the primary. Oh boy, here we go. We have Switzerland 1 mile. I really don't understand this sign. Why? Okay, we're not even signed for like an actual city. We're signed for, okay. So Google describes this as a hamlet. As soon as I saw that, I was like, what is a hamlet? But apparently it's kind of like a village. So we're signing a village from 1 mile away. I don't really understand this. Anybody who's going through this area, any local traffic, is probably going to already know where this is. I don't think we need 1 mile to show us where Switzerland is. Anyway, here we are in Hardyville. We are now signed for Hilton Head Island only for East 278 and also a 2 I-95 shield right here. Here we are meeting I-95. I-95 North is signed for Florence, and I-95 South is signed for Savannah. Savannah definitely works. 95 North, I don't know about Florence. Going northbound. Should probably be either Columbia or maybe Fayetteville. I mean, Florence is sort of okay going southbound, but northbound, yeah, I think they should probably just change it to one of those. Or maybe co-sign it with either Columbia or Fayetteville. And here is our next mile sign after I-95. We have Sun City, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, and Beaufort sign. These are all cities in the Hilton Head Island area, which I think doing it like this is okay. And our next mile sign we can find, we have Hilton Head Island 12. So we're getting pretty close to Hilton Head Island. So we'll jump ahead to the Business 278 split. We have WM Hilton Parkway, and Cross Island Parkway is now signed for 278 East. And here we are at the very end of 278. We get a 278 end sign, and it ends right at this roundabout. And going left here is where Business 278 is. So it does form a bit of a loop around Hilton Head Island. And that will wrap up US-278 Part 2, and this will be continued in Part 3. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you've enjoyed, and stay tuned.